Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a whole new episode of Full Steam Ahead. I'm your host, Zoe, with my partner in crime on the other side, Mr. Cantu.
How's it going?
Crazy week of sports, men's college World Series, NBA draft, baseball before the All-Star game as well. Lots of going on. Not Astros, Rockets get a Maine Thompson. LSU and Florida are meeting in the men's college World Series off of walk-off
That's
from the
crazy.
LSU Tigers. We are just
From
watching it
Tommy
just now.
Tanks.
Tommy
Tommy
Tanks.
Tanks.
I mean that I don't know if that's his last name though. Is it his last name?
No,
I'm
it's
not
not.
too sure.
No, it's not his last name, but that's
Imagine
his
if it
nickname.
was. It would have gone perfect.
Well, I think Oral Roberts had this dude named Blaze Brothers. That's a pretty cool name.
That's a sick name. But I know y'all don't want to hear about that. Y'all want to hear about this past series with the Astros taking it from the New York Mets. They ended the homestand 4-5. Um, I'd say it's better than going with the like a 2-3 record. You got to go what it takes you and everything like that. They did a good job against the New York Mets. Of course, that first game against Max Scherzer, the Astros just the offense was not there. I mean, Mad Max was Mad Max, and he showed up. Justin Verlander comes back into town, get his World Series ring and things like that. So, Angel, give me that one word. Describe this series.
Let's go with chaotic. Again, that first game when the Astros lost, I feel like all the fans were like, "This is like, this is the season." Already, like they were quitting halfway the season. But then the Framber Valdez and the Astros showed out in game two, and then that crazy game three, where Christian Javier couldn't make it past 3 innings. Neither did the other pitcher. It was a high scoring game back and forth, and luckily the Astros came out on top. But it was chaotic all around, not just for the players, but for the fans who were on the edge of their seats watching the game.
Yeah, chaotic as that last game. I mean, that was shocking seeing not Framber, Christian Javier go two in a third, dude. I mean, command was not there for him at all.
I think there's a
And
total of 16 walks that game. Like,
I
it's
mean,
crazy.
Astros and the Mets too. Tyler McGill wasn't even getting his stuff going either, and it was kind of like a bullpen game for the Mets and the Astros. Thank God, the Astros have an off day yesterday on Thursday, but now it's Friday. And I was looking at the Dodgers game against the Angels on Wednesday night, and they threw a bullpen game as well. So both bullpens are kind of taxed again. That 1 day break on Thursday, and now Friday coming into this weekend it's going to be interesting to see how it works out for. I mean, because we'll talk about the preview here in a minute, but you got a lot of rookies going to be pitching for the Astros and for the Los Angeles Dodgers. But let's start off with our shout outs, of course. Let's get ahead and get those out the way. Angel, who you got to shout out?
Give me Diaz the Destroyer. Yanier Diaz has been tearing the cover off the ball. He went 4 for 13 with 2 home runs, 3 RBIs. Dusty has been playing him more. I think that's coming from like Daniel Brown, because I think they've said that they wanted to see Diaz play more, and he's been producing. He's been getting a lot of starts at DH, but when he does catch, and they do test him, he's been getting the job done as well. He's looked good all around. That power is there,
Mhm.
especially at Minute Maid Park. It'll be interesting to see how he plays outside of Minute Maid Park, because I think he has benefited a little bit from the Crawford boxes and that short uh, left field porch. But he's done good, shown promise, and that is why he gets our first shout out for today.
Yeah, I think he finished the homestand with like 286 batting average. If he had a
I
good
think it's
amount of
above
home runs, I think he had
270
three
now.
something home runs, 270.
Yeah, it's above
I
270
I
now.
was just talking about the homestand in
Oh
general,
yeah,
though,
okay.
from the Nationals and Reds. But yeah, I mean that's a great first shout out because I mean he did a very great job being that DH role. He's done a fantastic job. I would go with Alex Bregman as my second shout out, and a mini shout out too to Brian McCann for helping Bregman get his
I
swing
did,
together. He
I
yeah
did
he
see
he
that.
gave a he gave a hit he gave Bregman a hitting tip. He called I think June 17 and he had told him he had a little tweak in his stance or some type of mechanic issue.
It was with his
Um,
elbow, I think.
yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just agreeing with you. I think it was dealing with his elbow, and just a little inches, dude. In this game, it could just matter to a player's stance. And sure enough, I mean that after that had happened, he's been on a tear. I had the number tweeted out a long time ago when he was our player of the game. But this series, 5 for 12 with a home run, 4 RBIs, a stolen base. showed the wheels off.
I was about
If
to say
you
bring
Yeah, him and Kyle Tucker showing off the wheels. But 150 home runs too in his career Tuesday night. Very career milestone for him. Shout out to you for accomplishing that milestone as well. But Angel, I know you got a pitcher in mind, and I think everybody knows who it's going to be.
definitely Framber Valdez.
Hmm.
Close. He was close to having a perfect game. I was doing my little box scores on that one, and I saw it. I tweeted out. Nobody say anything. Just watch the game. He had a perfect game going into the sixth inning. I think it went like six in the third, and then Mark Cannon with a little roller. I would say it was 77 miles off the bat down the first baseline. Albrey was shifted a little to the pool side for him, so that ruined the perfect game. But he did pitch well. 8 innings pitched, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 walk, and 9 strikeouts. That's a typical Valdez start. Low, zero to low walks and a lot of strikeouts. He looked good, and it was pretty impressive outdueling his his former teammate Justin Verlander. I think that was the most anticipated game of that series, and he proved it in front of stars. Like Memo Ochoa was there, the whole
Hmm.
Honduran soccer team was there, and that's a step in the right direction for Bramber because I know before the 2020 season, before the 2021 season, he struggled with like pressure and
Hmm.
especially in big moments, and now he's proven it that he can pitch in the big moments as well.
Yeah, I think he loves that navy alternate blue jersey as
It has
well.
to
I
be the
think
jersey.
I think he does not want any other jersey besides that one. But yeah, he brought his ERA down to 272, second best in the American League. Possible. I'm very positive. I feel comfortable
It's
saying that
possible.
he'll probably represent the Astros at the All-Star game in Seattle, but we'll see if he will even take it. But the last shout out I want to
Well,
give out. Go ahead.
before you move on, he could possibly be a starter in the All Star
Yeah.
game because Shane McCallaghan just went had an injury update, so it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But possibly a starter.
Yeah, hopefully nothing too serious for Shane McClanahan either. That Rays team has been great, and for something unfortunate for the Rays organization to happen like that, and hopefully it's nothing too serious. Real quick though, with the Bregman stat I wanted to share with you, since Brian McCann had helped, 8 for 17 with a 471 batting average, a double, a triple, a home run, 5 RBIs, 1 walk. That
Game
is
of
so insane.
adjustments.
Yes, it
Game
is.
of
But the last shout out we got to give out, we got to give it to Ryan Presley. He's done a great job after giving up that earned run against Cincinnati, blowing the save. Um, I mean, it was a rough outing for him. I mean, he's been having a rough patch for each game to game, but these past 2 games, when Framber needed him most and when the bullpen was already taxed, he came through. 2 innings pitched, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts. If you combine them 2 outings, he came in the ninth, getting them 2 saves as well. So looking good for Ryan Presley getting back on track and being the Presley that the Astro fans know from 2022.
Yeah, I think we even had conversations about like is it time to move on from Presley, but he
Yeah.
showed otherwise on that one. But this Astros team is in third place, and a big reason to that is because of injuries that have
Second
happened.
place now.
Second
Second
place.
place now.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
There you go.
41-34 record, 5.5 games back from the Rangers at first. Second place in the AL West since the Dodgers went over there to Anaheim and swept them.
Look at that. Astros have had a slow start, and they're still in second place, so they still got a chance.
Hmm.
And a major part of that slow starts because of injuries, and we do have a few updates. Starting with Michael Brantley. So there's still no timetable for his return, but the Astros have seen some encouraging signs. He's been taking batting practice with the team and is working on the field. I know I posted a little clip of Michael Brantley taking some batting practice. It's encouraging to see. It's a good sign that he will be back soon. And another injury update: Jose Urquidy. He threw 17 pitches
Hmm.
off the mound on Wednesday, and is traveling with the team to continue throwing bullpen sessions. So that's where he's at right now. Just trying to get a feel, making sure there's no pain when he throws. And if things go well, we might be he might be eyeing a rehab start soon in the minors. So those are encouraging signs for both Jose Urquidy and Michael Brantley. And there was a move. There was a roster move. Cesar Salazar. Um, is is heading to AAA, and Bly Madrid is heading to the Astros. Um, I felt like since Dubon was playing first base, the Astros realized that hey, they need some depth on the
Hmm.
bench. So that was Mauricio Dubon's first game at first base, well, meaningful game at first base since high school. So
Yeah.
he has a glove, uh, luckily, but the team didn't think to tell him. Well, there was no plans for him to be a first baseman throughout the season, but it was one of those days where he's a utility player, right? So he had to come in and play the position. But Glenn Madrid is there to bring in some depth on the bench. Now there is going to be a corresponding move today because Lee Madrid is not on the 40-man roster. So someone will have to be removed for the 40-man roster. The Astros have not announced who, so that'll be a thing to keep an eye out for.
Yeah, definitely had to keep an eye out on that. It's going to be interesting too. Cesar Salazar was the third backup catcher, and now the Astros are carrying two catchers, being Maldi and Yainer Diaz. So it's looking like maybe Bly Madrid too is going to get some DH opportunities. Yeah, like you were saying too, with the depth being the first base, he has had some opportunities at first base with the Space Cowboys. I think in 8 games he played first with them.
Yeah,
But the depth, I mean, another left-handed bat. So I mean,
yeah,
it works out for the Astros what
yeah.
they
Because you
wanted
still
to
have
do with
Gressinger
that.
as well too.
Yeah, you got
Yeah,
Gray Kessinger. Well, he could be dropped with that corresponding move.
could be. Yeah.
Could be. So I mean, it's interesting, like I'm saying, because of the backup catcher role. You're using Yainer Diaz as a DH right now. It's you hope like nothing goes wrong. Knocking on wood with Maldonado. If Diaz is that DH, who's going to be the catcher? I mean, the DH
Corey
is going to
Lee.
be killed. Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. You don't have the depth with the Astros right now on Corey Lee because Corey Lee's in Sugarland.
No, what I'm saying is, like I was saying, like if Martin Maldonado gets hurt, Yanier
No,
Diaz will
but
be the
like
starter.
in a in game situation, if you
Oh, I
use
see.
Yainer Diaz as
So
DH,
then the Astros, I think, will just lose their DH because they lost the DH. I think in one of the a few games where
yeah, they did.
they swapped out. I think Maudi right for
Hmm.
Diaz, so they lost
No,
their DH. Was
yeah,
it?
yeah, it was.
Yeah, so they lost their DH. So I think it's just that situation. But I see what you mean um, on that end and that aspect. But I feel like Yanier Diaz is the future catcher for the Astros, and he's been proving it so far. So I think that's another reason for that move as well, because they're seeing the production that Yanier Diaz has shown. So that it's like, why do we need three catchers? Like,
Yeah, like I said, just hopefully, knocking on wood, nothing happens to either or because that's when we're gonna have to look for another catcher, and we do not want to go through all that stuff in game situations. But let's get with that preview against the Los Angeles Dodgers, Blue Heaven Dodger Stadium, 2017 rematch of the World Series. I think Astros fans know, Dodger fans even know about the whole. I mean, it was a great series before the whole cheating scandal. 4-3, Astros had won the World Series, their first in franchise history. But then the cheating scandal comes out. Dodger fans, Yankee fans, I mean, but strictly Dodger fans have had a big hatred on the Astros. And I'll never forget going to that first time when the Dodgers visited Houston, and there was a whole sea of Dodger blue in one section, trash cans. I mean, it was crazy. But let's go with that preview. Dodgers are 41-33, almost just like the Astros, similar to them. If you did not see that tidbit from Brian McTaggart, Astros, Dodgers, and Yankees almost, I believe they had a similar record either before
39
this
and 30.
series. It was something like that. It was crazy because all them top three teams are usually going to be in the World Series or in the postseason at least. But third in the NL East, 5-5 in their last 10 games. They're 4 games back from first from the baby D-backs who have been scorching hot, just like the Cincinnati Reds. But Friday, like I said, it's going to be some rookies pitching this whole series. And the first one being on Friday night, 9:10 Central Time start. JP France for the Astros, 2-2 with a 3.42 ERA versus Emmett Sheehan, which is a 0.00 ERA. So that's pretty good. I think he only had one outing so far. I'll get deeper in a minute. JP France, though, last outing versus Cincinnati, 6 and 2/3, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts. He did have a quality start, but ended up with his second loss of the season, like we had talked about 2 podcasts ago. So, and we've talked about it too, Angel, that this is going to be a test for JP France. I mean, his first outing was over there at Seattle against the Mariners, and that was the first time the Astros traveled to Seattle since the ALDS, and you know how loud it was over there, being called so and so Electric Factory. Now you're going to go to LA with Dodger fans booing the Astros every time. I mean, you could. JP France wasn't even with the 2017 roster, and he's going to get booed a big load. But other than that, I feel like JP France could be comfortable. I think he likes being in that underdog situation. On the other side, you got Sheehan, Dodgers number 8 prospect out of their farm system. Last outing versus San Francisco, like I said, this was his first start in a major league uniform. 6 innings, no hits, 0 earned runs, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. That is a no hitter, folks. He was throwing a no hitter, and that was with 89 pitches. So just imagine if he could win another inning. Yeah, you never know. It could have been a very great start. I mean, it was already a great start just throwing a no hitter. But this guy, we don't know him. The Astros don't know him. Let's figure out what he throws. So 3 pitch arsenal. He has a 4 seam fastball, changeup, slider. 61 pitches, 95.8 miles per hour being the average on his fastball. Changeup, 15 pitches, 83 miles per hour. Slider, 13 pitches, 87 miles per hour. The 4 seamer, though, we're going to see that pitch be used a big load of time. I mean, it's a riser, mid-high level action. It's going to rise on left-handed and right-handed hitters. So Altuve, for instance, I mean, he loves the high ball. Hopefully, he doesn't chase, but he does like that rising fastball. Astros weren't successful against the rookies, from being Bryce Miller from Seattle and recently being Andrew Abbott from Cincinnati. So my question to you, Angel, what's going to be the keys to attacking this right-handed rookie? I mean, his first outing was good. He didn't allow a hit, didn't allow a earned run as well. What's going to be the keys for this Astros to give him, to allow him to get his first, well, basically his first hit getting out of the way, and his maybe possibly being an earned run?
Yeah. So again, it's a small sample size, but he did come up to a really, really great start. Anytime you allow no hits in 6 innings, that's a tremendous start. Like you said, it will be fastball heavy from Sheehan. But something I did notice is that he left a lot of sliders in the middle and up in the zone. So he's trying to locate like kind of that Hunter Brown, Verlander Wheat high fastballs and those sliders in that outside corner. And but again, he left most of them in the middle of the plate or high in the strike zone. So if you're a right-handed hitter, that is what you're looking for: fastballs up and sliders. They take advantage of those sliders. Now, if you're a left-handed hitter, he's gonna try to mix in that changeup. He threw 15 changeups, like you said, zero to right-handed hitters. They were all to lefties. So,
Mm.
and they were all on the outside of the plate. So that's what you're looking for. So just I would say do a job, take it the other way. Um, but yeah, I think that's the plan to attack, take advantage of those sliders that are missing out over the plates.
Yeah, I mean, the only lefty in the Astros lineup is Kyle Tucker. So Tucker's going to look at that changeup outside, take it the other way. He's done a great job taking it the other way to left field as a left-handed hitter. But Saturday's matchup, just another rookie matchup as well. 6:15 start time. Ronel Blanco 1-0 with a 4.66 ERA versus Bobby Miller 3-1 with a 2.83 ERA. And Ronel Blanco, the last appearance against the Cincinnati Reds was not great. I mean, it was at first, but then didn't end well. 5 and 2/3, 7 hits, 5 earned runs, 2 walks, and 5 strikeouts. He has a FIP of 716. That is not what you want to hear from a statistical standpoint. Worst start of the year. That was his out of 3 starts. This was the worst one. But what I found interesting too, you got to get this kid out of the third. Like when they go through the lineup the third time, you got to get him out. You got to. First time through the lineup, 142 ERA with the opponent batting average being 182. Second time through, it doesn't get better. 426 ERA. Opponent batting average still low, being 217. When you go third time through, You got to take him out. 10.38 ERA with an opponent batting average of 421. That's over 400. He gave up a earned run to Toronto whenever he went to Canada and had a start, and then being at Minute Bay Park with the Cincinnati Reds, like I was saying, he had a good first two innings, and then when it came to the last part of it, he allowed three earned runs. So what I'm looking at, and I'm going to ask you on your feedback, Angel, um, is Dusty has to manage that. He has to look at that being, even though the Astros have taxed their bullpen this past Wednesday, you get an off day on Thursday. If JP France pitches a great game Friday, don't have to use a lot of arms. Saturday is going to be your best bet to see a bullpen kind of quote unquote game. You'll have Ronel Blanco go 5 innings, maybe six, just depending on how the flow of the game is going for him. But what needs to work for Ronel if he's going to be having success against not just a rookie lineup, but I mean you got Mookie Betts, JD Martinez, Chris Taylor. What needs to work out for Ronel Blanco?
Yeah. So what I'm getting at is if the first time around it's at 142, second time 426, and third time 1038. I feel like he has to do a better job of mixing his pitches and like change the game plan, so they're not seeing the same thing over and over again. But another thing I saw is his fastball command is not that great. A lot of it is right down, in the wheelhouse of the players, right down the zone. That would have to get better. Either throw it high or throw it low in the zone, but he's leaving a lot of stuff in the middle of the plate, especially that fastball. So I didn't. That could be a reason why those stats are so drastically different, and it's higher the third time around because they're catching up to that fastball, and when you're leaving it right there in the plate, these are
Yeah.
professional hitters, and they're gonna take advantage of that. So mix up his pitches better. I think that's working with Maldi or Diaz, whoever's catching them, but probably most likely will be Maldi, and then better command of the fastball.
Yeah, I mean the command has to be there against a team like this. I mean, you got I don't know if JD Martinez. Yeah, he won an MVP, I believe, with Detroit. You got an MVP and Mookie Betts too. Max Muncy's in that lineup. Jason Hayward's another veteran out there that's a lefty that's been doing actually pretty good for the Dodgers this season. So don't make mistakes. If you make mistakes, they're gonna make you pay, kind of thing. So just like you're saying, command issues and the fastball, don't let it be in the wheelhouse of these guys. Bobby Miller, on the other hand, it's been a good prospect for the Dodgers. Number two, being in their farm system, last outing versus the Giants wasn't too great though. 5 2/3, 7 hits, 7 earned runs, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. But 2 starts prior to the San Francisco outing, he was lights out, and that was against two teams that were in the postseason last year, being the Yankees, and the other one being the Phillies that were in the World Series. 12 innings pitched, 4 hits, 0 earned runs, 5 walks, 14 strikeouts. 98th percentile with his fastball velocity, which is great for pitchers. Top 5% of the league too, which is a good number for pitchers with a 244 WOBA. Kid got some good stuff. I mean, it's great electric sinker, slider, changeup, four seam, curveball. Baseball savant brings up similar pitchers to Miller with his velocity and movement. You want to take a crack at who those pitchers are. At
Uh,
least one pitcher.
well, if you're making something like that, I'm sure it's pretty good. Let's go with the National League Cy Young, Sandy Alcantara, maybe.
Yeah. Sandy Alcantara is one of them. Garrett Cole's another. Hunter Green, Jacob DeGrom. That's
Wow,
good. That's a good category to be in
that's
with,
good
guys
company.
like that. A good company. That's what I was trying to say. But yeah, Astros are going to be facing him the second day and Sunday, 6:10 start time Central. I don't know if there's going to be a Sunday night baseball matchup,
I'm
which it
sure
sounds. I'm pretty
if
sure it
it's at
sounds like
six,
it.
yeah.
Yeah,
If it's at
most
six,
likely
yeah.
it'll be airing on ESPN. Hunter Brown for the Astros, 6-4 with a 3.78 ERA versus Tony Gonsolin, 4-2 with a 2.92 ERA. And then Hunter Brown, um, his last outing against the Mets was not so good. 5 2/3, 7 hits, 6 earned runs, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts. I expect a different outing from Mr. Brown this coming, against the Dodgers. Vintage Verlander, maybe, because people compare him, his mechanics, and Verlander has done really well against the Dodgers. On the other side of the Dodgers, being Tony Gonsolin, he was very good for them last year with everybody being injured. 2.92 ERA is pretty good still. Last outing versus the Giants, though, was not too good. That not thinking about it now, saying with the Giants swept the Dodgers in these matchups. So just a little heads
Yeah.
up there. 5 2/3, 6 hits, 7 earned runs, 3 walks, 7 strikeouts. Top 6% of the league with a 246 WOBA, split finger, best pitch. Just nothing to it right there. His split finger is his best pitch. 29.4% of the time, second most thrown pitch. He increased it from last year, being 27.5 to this year in 2023 so far with a 29.4%. So right-handed hitters, if you're looking at him with that split finger, it's going to come low and inside. Left-handed hitters, which is Kyle Tucker as of right now. If you throw Bly Madris in there, it's going to be low and away. So, like you were saying with Sheehan, low and away with the changeups to left-handed hitters, it's basically the same thing with Tony Gonsolin being this split finger. But this is going to be a great preview. Well, a really great matchup between the Dodgers and Astros. I mean, I think it's always a good matchup when the Dodgers and Astros match up since, like I was saying, the 2017 World Series. Ching scandal happened. It's just been, blood smothering through the whole years of baseball. When you talk to Astro fans and when you talk to Dodger fans, they're gonna let you know about the hatred for the Astros. I mean, last year in the All-Star game, dude, I was there when when they announced the American League coaching staff, and that's whoever was in the World Series that past year, which was the Astros against the Braves. Whole time, Dusty Baker, boo. Alex Cintron, boo. Joe Spada, boo. Omar Lopez. I mean, throughout the whole coaching staff, being the Astros, everybody was booing their butts off. But
Dusty
what
wasn't
do you
even part of. Dusty wasn't
and
even part of 2017.
not just that, but Dusty Baker helped him win a World Series, and he was a
Yeah,
World Series MVP in one of those years. Whenever the Dodgers won the World Series, I think it was in the 70s. I'm not,
I'm sure.
quite sure. But I mean, what do you expect this series? Do you see a series win? How do you see it?
I don't know. I feel like the Dodgers fans just can't get over the Astros, and so it'll be more of the same. You know, they're gonna be booing the players. There's gonna be words that you wouldn't say at church being yelled out from the fans, but it'll be like that typical New York atmosphere against the Astros for sure.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
there might be some we want Houston chants, but that might backfire on them as
Nah,
well.
I don't think that would happen. That's only New York kind of people that would do that.
Oh, maybe
Eh,
Dodgers fans are taking notes.
I will say this though: if you're traveling to LA, be safe out there. Don't
Yeah,
start anything with these fans because you you see some videos on Twitter with Dodger fans fighting other Dodger fans or Dodger fans just fighting other fans of baseball that's supporting their team. So if you're going out there, stay safe, be careful, don't get too chaotic.
do it. Moving on, offensive pitching MVP and hot takes. Again, I didn't do so hot. I'm just
And you're
I'm
in a
just gonna stop.
you're in a slump right now, dude.
I'm just gonna stop doing these because
You're just on
it's
a slump.
yeah, it's not so good. So I had Christian Javier. I I never bet against Christian Javier. When I did, it happens. Baseball. As it was part of that chaotic game, but it's all good. I had Kyle Tucker. I mean, he got some hits. He got some hits, but would you count that one or what?
Just depends if he brought in a lot of guys RBI wise,
I would
and
I would have to double check that one, but I don't think
I'll
it was
check
that
it
low.
for you since you'll talk about your new ones.
And then the Astros take 2 out of 3 against the Mets. I hit on that one, so right
Yes, you
now
did.
1 out of 3. But my new ones, you know what? Keeping with the, I'm gonna go with Diaz, the destroyer, Yanier Diaz for my offensive MVP. He has been doing
It's a good
good,
one.
smashing the ball everywhere, and even his bloopers are finding the, the green. So Yanni Diaz for my offensive MVP. Then we have Hunter Brown. This is gonna be a huge outing for him. This is gonna be like one of those playoff atmosphere outings, and if Houston does not want to get a pitcher in the trade deadline, this is going to be the start to see how Hunter Brown reacts to the pressure and the fans and just to this high caliber game. And then he will be pitching on Sunday night, so all lights will be on Hunter Brown. So if he does well, that is a good sign moving forward. And then my hot take, Lorenzo just read out these pitching matchups, and the way it's sounding, each pitcher has a lower ERA than the starting pitchers for the Astros. So my hot take is the Astros pitching will outdo the Dodgers pitching for this series. And again, the Astros are number one in pitching, but this is the part of the rotation where it has been little tad bit inconsistent, but um, we'll see how it goes.
That's an interesting one. I really like that one actually because Astros do their ERA is pretty good. It's one of the best in the American League at least. I know for sure. Major League Baseball wise, I'm not 100% sure. But that's a good one. Brown, Diaz. You went with two rookies on this one, dude. I like it. Very bold of you. Very bold.
Hey,
Um,
we got to change things up when things aren't falling your way. So
yeah. So Kyle Tucker, real quick, 0 for every game against the Mets.
yeah,
That
so
that's
that's
yeah,
one for
that's an
three.
L right there. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's an L.
definitely.
I had Altuve, and that didn't go as well as I would thought it would had. So I went 0 on down. Framber, that guy, he hit for me. So he's on the board. And then I said Astros will score a minimum of 3 earned runs against Max Scherzer. That did not,
So we both went one
not
for
even
three.
close. 1 for 3, but you're on the biggest slump of them all. I'm not gonna lie to you, dude. You're on a huge slump. But it's a new week, a new series. Like you were saying, the weekend, Micheladas are going to be over there served at Dodger Stadium because that is huge. Estrella Jalisco as well. It's going to be huge out there. But offensive MVP, I like Bregman. I think he thrives on the boos, and he's going to be the main one. Him and Altuve being booed at Dodger Stadium. I think he's going to do good. I think what Brian McCann had helped him tweaked out that mechanic issue in his stance or with the elbow, like you were saying. I think it's going to help him out. Ronel Blanco is going to be my pitching MVP. I expect a bounce back
Oh,
performance from him.
expect.
I do highly
Big
expect a
word.
bounce back performance for him. Um, you know, like you were saying with the environment, Hunter Brown's going to go there. Same thing as this kid. I think he has yet to face a tough environment, a tough test. The Blue Jays are a great team, but the Dodgers, like the Astros and Dodger rivalry right now, that's a bloodbath. And I think he has to pitch in a great situation like this if he's going to want to hold on to being on this roster when it comes to September and October. If the Astros if they even get to the postseason, we'll see what happens. But I got Ronel Blanco getting a bounce back game, and then my hot take: Jose Abreu will be the better acquisition this series than JD Martinez, which I know you understand, but for the audience out there that doesn't, Jose Abreu, newly acquisition from the Astros this past year. JD Martinez was just acquired by the Dodgers this past offseason as well. So I say Jose Abreu is going to have a better outing, hitting matchups and everything like that, RBIs, home runs, than JD Martinez, which that's very bold because JD Martinez is really good, dude. So and he's really had a good season for them. I wish
Former
the Astros,
Astro.
yeah, I wish the Astros would have taken, hit the tires on him because I think he could have helped being in that DH role, especially with Michael Brantley being, on setbacks and hurt right now with the injury updates. But one more thing I wanted to add before we move on to our news segment: the
Mm-hmm.
Astros and Dodgers. New Dodgers, the current players that that 2017, dude. I don't know if Will Smith was there. Was Will Smith with the Dodgers in 2017? Because I know Austin Barnes was the main one catching.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. Um, the only one I think is Chris Taylor as a offensive standpoint. Astros, on the other hand, you have Jose Altuve and Alex Bregman from the 2017 roster from the offensive standpoint. So there are new players out here, dude. They're new faces. Let's calm the rivalry down a little. No violence. Let's
Will
all be
Smith
friends.
was in fact not there.
Not there. So Chris Taylor being the only Dodger there for 2017 on the Dodger roster. Astros, on the other hand, had uh, Jose Altuve, and Alex Bregman. But
What
like I said, new segment. Oh, well, go ahead.
you know what's crazy? Andre Ethier was on that team. It was old.
That is so old, yeah. Because
Yeah,
you never forget whenever that which game was, I think it was game 4, game 5, the extra inning game. He was the one that threw it to home plate
yeah.
when Derek Fisher scored from the Alex Bregman RBI
Oh
single.
yeah. I would have been sending. I would have been sending like 10 times out of 10 if Andre Ethier was in the outfield. But
I mean, it was a good throw, but it was just too late. I mean, the arm's dead. But new segment we got an over and under, not your typical gambling game, but we're not betting money on here. We're not doing no FanDuel. We're not doing DraftKings kind of thing. We're doing our own little thing over here at FSA. So, Angel, we're both going to be, talking about our over under. Kyle Tucker hits a home run this series, at least one. Are you going with the over? Or are you going with the under?
oh, over one. Let's go with the over. I like that.
Last 7 games, he has not hit a home run. Last 7 games. Let me repeat that, has not hit a home run. So you're
I
going with
say
the over on that? I'm
over.
gonna go with the over as well. The righties are gonna be pitching. Yes, they do throw changeups low and away, but Kyle Tucker's gonna pull one and drive one out to right field. Next one being Jose Abreu RBI this series, at least 3. 2 for 10 with no RBIs last year against the Los Angeles Dodgers. His last 7 games, he had a total of 3 RBIs. This series, 3. Are you going to over? You're going the under.
Under. I'm going under on this one. Has to show me. Like I feel like he has to show me a little bit more.
So you're gonna go with the under on this one.
Under,
Correct.
yeah.
Okay, I was just making sure. Siri had it to pop up on my feed for some reason. You know what? I'm gonna go with over. I had my hot take being Jose Abreu being the better
Slow.
acquisition.
Yeah.
Hey, I have faith in Jose Abreu. A lot of people are still bashing on him. Um, of course, with Bagwell and Crane and all that, Spada going all the way to Miami. We're not even gonna talk about that. I'll go the over with 3 RBIs. I think he'll hit at least a minimum of 3. I don't know what would be that being at 3. Next one, JP France strikes out this series, being 5 strikeouts. Over or under?
It's another hard one.
Oh,
Let's give me the over.
you're gonna go
Take
with the
the over.
over, okay?
Over.
Because he has yet to face the Dodgers, of course, and his last appearance being on the mound, he had 3 strikeouts. So you're gonna go with the over and 5.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna go under on this one. I think it's gonna be more kind of a ground ball and fly out situation for him this game. I think he'll go at least 5 strikeouts. I'm not 5 strikeouts, 4 strikeouts, with about a minimum of 2 walks. So I'll go under on this one. Our last two being Astros run production this series, a total of 14. Remind you against the Mets, they scored a they scored a total of 15 runs. Cincinnati, they scored 11. Washington, they scored 12. And Cleveland, they scored 15. These are a total amount of runs in this series. Angel, are you going the over or under with the Astros scoring 14 this series against the Dodgers?
I'll take the under. I think this would be a. I think all of these games are gonna be pitching matchups, pitching duels. So give me
Pitching
the under.
matchups.
Yeah.
I'll go over on this one. We're going to see rookies and mistakes that can haunt you. Astros have a bunch of veterans on their team, same thing as the Dodgers, but Astros, you got Altuve, you got Bregman, you got Tucker, Abreu. I'll even consider Chaz McCormick being kind of a veteran as well. So I'll go over on this one, actually. And then the last one, presented by FanDuel, because this was on FanDuel. Astros first game spread against the Dodgers on Friday night. Astros plus 1.5, Dodgers negative 1.5. Angel, which one you're going with?
Let's go with Astros at plus 1.5.
So the Astros take the first game in Dodger Stadium.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
I'll go with that too. Not being unbiased here. We're not Astro fans here, but I do see the Astros because JP France has really pitched well away from Minute Maid Park too. I can see that happening with the Astros taking game 1 from at Dodger Stadium.
Now, before we move on from this segment, I'm talking to the listeners out there. Tell us what you think. Comment under
Let
like
us know.
Lorenzo always posts the like the Twitter for the like the links with the video. let us know what you think. Which would you be over? Which would you be under? It'd be cool to see.
Balance it out. We'll see.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But now it is time for around the league. I feel every time there is MLB rule issues because of inconsistency, and then we have another one. So Rangers manager Bruce Bochy was ejected Tuesday night after Jonah Heim uh, was called for blocking home plate. So this allowed a go-ahead run to score at the White Sox, and the White Sox won. So this call was initially ruled out, and
Hmm.
then the White Sox challenged, and in the replay, this it was said that he was blocking, so they overturned it, and they said he was safe. Now I understand Bruce Bochy why he was livid. After the game, he
Hmm.
said, "For that call to be made, I'm dumbfounded. It's absolutely out. One of the worst calls I've ever seen. I feel like if you go to replay, the judgment is he safe or out, not if you know, it just depends. Like
Yeah.
I would have to look see what they were challenging. If it was like challenging that he was blocking the paint or
No,
just a
well,
safe.
because the White Sox, I believe, Pedro Grifo challenged Elvis Andrus if he was safer out, and I
Okay.
think whenever they went to video replay in New York and everything like that, that's when they had told them maybe I'm just throwing an assumption. Maybe they told him, hey, he was out, but the catcher had a violation blocking the plate, kind of thing. I think
You
that
see,
at least I'm thinking at least.
this is where replay is kind of again, it still needs to be worked on, because
Hmm.
if that's the case, then the judgment should be is he safe or out, not
Out.
if a rule
Hmm.
was been broken,
Violated.
because I have heard that, and this could be like hopefully improved replay is the umpire doesn't say if it's safe or out, and then they're gonna take it a replay. It's their call to decide if it's safe or out without a camera. So
Hmm.
because the way replay works right now is, for example, if he's caught out, they take a replay and they say out was a call, and they have to have enough evidence to overturn that, right? But
Yeah.
if the replay people don't know if it's safe or out, they can make it more like, okay, this is what I see, right? So
Hmm.
that'll be interesting to see. And then we had, so that's just my take on that. But we did have another case. Padres manager Bobman was ejected Wednesday night after arguing the call for catcher's violation on Gary Sanchez. Again, every one of these rules that we've disputed has been because of its consistency. It's more of the umpires, like to
The
their,
judgment call.
yeah, there you go. It's a judgment call. So what I was looking for. So it's just like what's a catcher's violation and what's not is what I feel like that's the argument today. But what do you think?
I mean, if you look at Jonah Himes, he gave Elvis Andrus the room to tag the inside part of home plate, and that was a lot of room still for him to slide and be safe or out. But I mean, he was out. If you looked at the replay too, Jonah Heim did give him enough room. He wasn't blocking the plate. Now, if you look at not yesterday, Wednesday night's call with Gary Sanchez blocking the plate or catcher's violation or whatever, he was clearly blocking the plate because the runner didn't even have a chance to slide. I mean, kind of did like one of them funky slides that you stand up, but you put your foot out there just to see if you could, you know, hit the home plate. But there has to be consistency in this call. You went from Davey Martinez with the interference call through the first base line, and that happened too this past series with the Mets with Pete Alonso running through the grass. I don't know if you saw that. Um, so yeah, I agree. I just think it just needs to be consistency. Video room too. I mean, you have to follow the procedure and follow the rules the right way.
Speaking of Dave Martinez, did you see how he got ejected on Sunday night?
Very classic
He
Dave
got his money's
Martinez.
worth for sure. He was, I believe he was arguing balls and strikes. He was like
Hmm.
sweeping by home plate. He even went down and held his hand
It
out
was
on the
so funny.
floor to like just calling out the home plate umpire. It was look it up. It's it's good to see. But
It's
going back,
it's popular right now.
yeah. So like it shouldn't be hard to find. But going back to this rule, like this is the Buster Posey rule. It's for
Hmm.
a catcher safety because I don't know if you recall, but Buster Posey,
Yes,
I believe, tore his ACL when they collided. But again, it's all for player safety. But yes, I
and a
agree. It
short
has to be.
career too, dude. Short
Yeah,
career from him.
yeah. But
One
there
of
has
the
to be
best
some.
catchers.
I agree with you. It has to be some, but it does have to be some consistency on it. But the captain will take on a new challenge. Is the other. thing that's going around the league. Derek Jeter will make his Fox MLB analyst debut with the 2023 London series between the Cubs and the Cardinals. So that'll be interesting to see. He will be on the Saturday, June 24th, on the pregame show. I think the captain's being really busy. He's the cover of the
Yeah.
MLB 22 The Show Legends Edition, and now this. Either he needs some money or he's just bored at home. One of those.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you caught his comment too about the Yankees. I think Hal Steinbrenner had said something about like, "Hey, fans need to relax." He had said something like that, and Jeter's like, "Well, come on, y'all got to play right then. If you want the fans to relax, I mean, look how you are playing." So, yeah, I mean, maybe Derek Jeter is bored at home and trying to find new ways to, be involved in the game. Because if you remember, he was the GM of the
Forever.
Marlins and or ownership, something like that. And he's now had stepped down and had sold the team, I believe.
Yeah, but he during his tenure with the Marlins, he did give Giancarlo to the Yankees on a discount price. But that's another conversation. But we do have some exciting and great news coming from Major League Baseball. So they will have a tribute to the Negro Leagues, and I generally love this.
Hmm.
I was on board for when Cleveland was changing their names to like from the Indians. I was on board and naming them the Cleveland Spiders because of the team
Cleveland
in the Negro.
Spiders.
Yeah,
I didn't know
because of the
that.
team. Yeah, because like in the Negro Leagues, I believe they had the Cleveland Spiders, and that's what just to honor them.
Wow, I didn't
But
know that.
yeah, but what's going to be going on is the Cardinals will host the Giants in the Negro League tribute at Rick Wood Field in Birmingham, Alabama, on June 20th, 2004. So this is a big step.
2024,
What did I say?
2004. Like if we're
Oh, my bad, my
Astros
bad.
and Cardinals.
2024, my bad. Um, this is a great step for Major League Baseball to be
Hmm.
more diverse. Um, there is a lot more African Americans in baseball, but there's still not enough. So that is great for them as well. And then Rickwood Field is the oldest professional ballpark in the U.S. and former home of the Birmingham Black Barons of the Negro League. And Willie Mays will also be honored as he played with the Black Barons during his time in the Negro Leagues. Like we've seen this where, um, again, for example, like Major League Baseball is going to London this year, but they also went to Mexico twice already. Like it's just expanding the game and getting making baseball a sport for everybody. And
Yeah,
this is really good that they're doing this.
yeah, I agree.
But I don't know if you heard, but the All Star uh, update came that the finalists are already listed. The Astros have one lone finalist, and that is Jordan Alvarez. In the outfield, Altuve was third. He didn't quite make it, but I think he could still be in there as a reserve. But
Hmm.
here are your American League All Star finalists for first base. You have Vladimir Guerrero and Yandy Diaz. Who do you think takes that one?
Who it was? Vlad Guerrero
And
and Yandy
Yandy
Diaz.
Diaz.
I mean, I haven't seen the stats, but I mean, I feel like Yandy Diaz has had a good season so far.
I think so too, but I say Vlad takes that one because he has all of Canada uh, voting for him.
Toronto, Toronto does vote great. I mean, for
Yeah,
their players, they will vote. I mean, remember
yeah.
last year they had a lot of Toronto Blue Jay representatives out there for for the Blue Jays.
I'm about to show you how well these Blue Jays fans vote. It's for first base, Vladimir Guerrero Diaz. Second base, Marcus Simeon, Whit Merrifield. Third base, Josh Jung, Matt Chapman. Shortstop, Bo Bichette, Corey Seager. Like that's that whole infield could potentially be the entire Toronto Blue Jays. But
That's what I'm saying.
for catching, Adley Rushington, Jonah Heim, and in outfield, Aaron Judge, Mike Trout, Randy Rosarena, Jordan Alvarez, Kevin Kiermaier, and Adolis Garcia. So that is your American League. And now for your National League. For catchers, you have Sean Murphy and Will Smith for the Dodgers. Second base, Luis Arraz and Ozzy Albies. I think that one's already. It's close, but I think when you're batting 400 in the major leagues, I mean, that's the
You
lowest.
got to start.
Yeah. Shortstops, Orlando Arcia and Francisco Lindor. First base, Freddie Freeman, Matt Olson. Third baseman, Arenado Austin Riley. Designated hitters, JD Martinez and Bryce Harper. Stearns was just saying how JD Martinez has been great. Well, he's leading the voting for the National League. And outfielders, Ronald Acuna is already locked in. Mookie Betts, Corbin Carroll, Lourdes Gurriel, and Michael Harris. So two D backs in that outfield actually. It's pretty good.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Corbin Carroll should be automatically
oh
in,
yeah,
dude. Dang,
that's
he's had a good season.
I caught it. That's your rookie of the year right there.
Yeah, sadly, my rookie of the year. Both of them really. They've been a little slow. But yeah, it should be interesting. I think the Rangers, being unbiased here too. Josh Jung has had a good season.
Oh yeah,
Corey Seager, after coming back from the injury list, just on fire. Marcus Semien has been consistent this whole season. Nathaniel Lowe has been pretty good. Adolis Garcia needs to be in it. I don't know how, but I mean he's fourth in RBIs, I believe. So I'm like I said, I'm being unbiased. I'm just awarding the talent that's there. I mean, the Rangers have been great this season. You can't say they haven't. I've been shocked, really. I didn't think they were going to be leading right now in the AL West. I did believe they could be a wild card, but
yeah. No, yeah,
shout out
and,
to those guys. They've done
yeah,
really great.
yeah. We told you that they're gonna be good, but we didn't know they're gonna be that good. That's
Yeah,
that's
but
basically
you
what
were
it was.
like you were saying though, the Blue Jays infield is almost set for this All Star game. I don't think
Telling
that's
you,
never happened.
but
Never happened in history.
they have the whole Canadians like voting for them. They're the only team in Toronto, so
We'll
yeah.
have to see. We'll have to see with the pitchers too later on. I mean, I believe Framber's a lock. It has to be.
Oh
Christian
yeah,
Javier has
I think so.
potential to be the guy. Brian Abreu being a reliever,
I think
and
Brandon
Phil
Brace a lot
Maton.
too. I
Yeah,
think
Phil
Brandon,
Maton and Brian Abreu have had good seasons so far.
and then
But
Dusty. Go ahead.
they'll see what.
Dusty will be coaching that staff as well, so we'll see what
Yeah,
happens.
American League side will be Dusty Baker and the Astros staff, and the National League side would be Rob Thompson and his Philly staff as well for the National League. But that is all for today's show. Continue to subscribe at our YouTube channel, and of course, follow us at TikTok at Full Steam Ahead on Twitter as well. Continue to subscribe to our podcast platforms. Listen to our episodes. Like Angel was saying, if you have that, we talked about a new segment being the over and under. Throw your comments. Show us what you think. What do you think on the over? What do you think on the other? Which one you're going to take? Be interesting to get your engagement out there from the audience standpoint, but Google, Apple, and Spotify as well. But that is all for today's show. Angel, anything else before we sign off?
Peace, and if you're going to LA, like Joe said, be careful.
Yes, be careful. It's really pretty out there. My family and I had gone to the All Star game last year. If you're sitting up there in the top deck, at least, well, if you're not, just go up to the top deck. It's an amazing view seeing downtown LA, and then you got the mountains in the background too. Wherever you're sitting in that ballpark is not a disappointment. Mountains in the background, sunset coming down, palm trees, great venue to visit. But that's all for today's show. Stay safe out there. Have a great weekend, blessed weekend as well. We will talk to y'all at the conclusion of this Dodgers series. See you guys.
Peace.